and welcome to the 3 Points of Light. I am Mama D, Darlene, one of your hostesses. Hi, everybody. And we have Jennifer's journey. Say, hey, Jennifer.
Hey, how you doing?
And then we have Brian, who's undercover tonight as his wife, Pauline. Say hi, Brian.
Good day, all. How is everything? And nice to hear you, Eric. Well, nice to see you doing a bit of writing. Good on you, mate.
Sweet. Tonight is about poetry. It's about things that people have written that make sense to them, even if it doesn't make sense to other people too, flippin' bad. And if there's any questions, it's a free question night. It's just a night of conversation and good times with friends hanging together. So, I have a comment to make to our dear supernatural reader, otherwise known as the Purple Plates Lady, Corinne de Winter. Sweetie, you know I always wear my cuff, right?
Yes.
For a week, I had stopped wearing it. I don't know why. And then I started getting these headaches. And I didn't know where they were coming from. Then I said, I'm not wearing my purple plate cuff. So I put it back on, and 2 hours after I put it on, my headache was gone.
Good. Good.
And I keep wearing it. Except at night, I don't sleep with it. But every day now, it just reminds me to make sure I put on my bracelet. So we're doing good. And
yeah,
Eric's got
I hear
his.
That. Yeah. I hear that a lot. People forget their disc or their bracelet or something at home, and they're like something, and then they realize that the reason they feel a little bit off is because they didn't have that with them. So it's interesting, you know?
I'm wearing mine. Does anybody want to know where mine is located?
Yours in lower back.
Anybody curious?
Is it in your? Is it in your underwear?
Bingo!
It's under lower sacroiliac. And Shelby, yes, that's right. You should have one for your car, for your home, and for your work. Well, I always wear it here, so I just got to remember to get up in the morning and put it on.
I carry one in my wallet too. Mine's always with me. I've got either the angel, I've got the disc. I'm always make sure I always have it.
Where did Diane go? She was here, but I was going to ask Diane where she keeps her angel.
Yeah, it's been bad a couple weeks for the sciatic nerves. Man, this weather.
Yes.
So I keep it under my cheek.
Tell me about it.
How's your
cheek or right?
Yeah, it's no shame in my game.
Well, Jennifer, at least you have little cheeks and not big ones, or else you'd need a big plate in there.
I know. Yes, I do have little cheeks. I'll admit that too.
Yeah.
We won't say who in this room has big cheeks.
But it works. I mean, seriously.
I do.
I don't know where I'd be if I didn't have my help.
Yeah, we have to.
Yeah, no kidding. I know.
And of a daytime.
So Shelby is a new friend of mine.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Am I on delay, you guys?
Yes.
Just a little.
Okay, I'm sorry. I apologize. I don't mean to be crashing in on somebody else's what they're saying, so I apologize for that. But I just wanted to say Shelby is a new friend of mine, and she's she's also a good friend of Renee's.
Oh,
so I'm glad she's here joining us.
Yeah. Yes, I've seen her on some of Renee's posts.
Okay.
Eric says he has a problem. You can't fit many fries on my purple plate. Oh, Eric.
Eric, by the way, Shelby, is the comedian of our group. Eric and Brian, they are the comedians of the group. Brian is easily to fix. I just kick him from the room or mute him.
Ignore it.
Silence me. Well, when you're not making much sense, which is more often than not, yes.
So, Corrine, what have you been up to? Do share.
Excuse me. I've been reading, for the past week, I've been reading about fairies, and very interesting book. It's, anyways, I'm going to tell you some of the highlights I've learned. You guys, we've been reading about fairies for years, right?
Right.
What's the name of the book,
one thing
sweetie?
I did not, I think it's called Fairies, Magical Beings, and I can't remember. I'll get the book. It's upstairs, but I'll get it in a minute. So you know the guy who wrote Peter Pan?
Mm-hmm.
His name was J.M. Barrie. And I didn't realize that when he was very young, his brother died. His older brother died. Mm-hmm. And they were both very young when the brother died. And so the brother died, and the mother took to her bed in depression for years after that. And every time J.M. would come into the room, she would say, "Is that you, David?" And that was the one who died. And he'd say, "No." And she said, "Oh, I wish that it was David and not you."
Oh.
And so, of course, this made him feel awful, right? So he didn't really have a good childhood. But anyway, so that's why he wrote Peter Pan, because it was a little boy. Peter Pan is a boy who doesn't grow up and doesn't get older. So that's how Peter Pan came about, which I find very interesting,
Yeah. I never knew that.
Is the writer of the book Peter Pan the same writer that wrote the that you're reading?
No. The guy who wrote Peter Pan is J.M. Barrie.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I was just trying to
if
find
you've never read Peter Pan, if you guys have never read Peter Pan, you should, because it is such a great story. I know it's a fairy tale, but it's just so cool. It's just such a cool story. So anyways, I just wanted to say that, but also about fairies. Well, the thing is about fairies, angels, elementals, this type of thing, I wonder, you guys, if they are all the same thing. You know what I mean? The same essence, so to speak. So when people say, you're talking to the fairies and angels and divas and even aliens, you know what I mean? Like how do we distinguish what elemental it is, and do they all do the same things? Okay, and then you've got your genies, the jinn, which is here, I'm going to write it in the chat room, jinn. And there's a woman named Rosemary Ellen Guiley. I love her. And she believes that the jinn are actually everything, that they are angels, they are aliens. And, of course, they have a very dark side, as do some fairies, and angels have a dark side. So to me, it's very interesting.
Right. Fairies and Magical Creatures by Matthew Reinhardt and Robert Sabuda. It's a purple book with a little yellow circle.
No, it's not.
Okay.
Shoot. Let me run upstairs. Let me run upstairs and get it. Hold on.
Okay.
Just a second.
There's fairies, angels, spirit, etc. Surely just different names for communication with the higher side of life.
Very true. Yeah, because we've had this. I think we've had little bits of discussions of this, of what different people connect. That would be an interesting topic for a show, fairies and the like. I have a friend who considers fairies to be the angels of the earth. where we have angels up there, but fairies and the light come from our angels of youth. So everybody has a different name for them, and everybody connects with them differently. But yeah.
Did you not see on Facebook some time ago, many years ago, in England they found, up in Scotland actually, they found a nest, and it had all these. They were exactly the same as the angels that people seem to think of them, flitting around just like, Tinkerbell. And they had wings, everything there. I mean, there was I think it was about 10 or 15 of them in this, little cave. And it was big, it was broadcast, and, everybody was quite taken aback that fairies actually existed on Earth. So, brings everybody back down to a level, doesn't it?
Right. Right. And, I've spoken to a few people that that actually saw fairies. And one of them was a gentleman that I knew some years back, and excuse me, it had been raining, and he went out to his garden to get something, and he's like, I'm kind of embarrassed to say this because you're going to think I'm crazy. And I said, no, please tell me. And he said on one of the bushes, like where there was a bush of flowers. I can't remember what kind he said it was. He said, I saw the fairy, and it was there. It was like, it was little, like maybe 2 inches or 3 inches, but it was on one of the leaves. And I said, well, what did you do? And he said, I just stared at it, and then it went away, And this was a guy that he wasn't crazy. He wasn't like out of his mind. And then another eyewitness report of a fairy came from my ex-boyfriend. Him and his son decided to, so him and his son were at his parents' house. His parents live on a very magical property. His mother, had huge gardens everywhere in the backyard. It was like 3 acres, and beautiful, beautiful property of flowers just everywhere, and a vegetable garden and a koi pond. And so they decided to take a walk one evening. It was almost midnight, and they brought a flashlight. And they walked around for a while, and then they were walking by the koi pond, which is very small, and they saw a white figure about 12 inches, 10 or 12 inches big, floating above the water. Now, I asked his son and him to draw the picture, and they drew the picture, and its wings or whatever were flapping. So, when they're flapping so quickly, you cannot really see them, just like a hummingbird, you know what I mean? So that was going on, and the white being had a face, like almost a human face, and it had a body. So they watched it a good 30 seconds or more, and then it just, the being just went up, like, kind of buzzed off like a comet would, like a comet coming down, like just like that, went off, and that was it. But I went and looked for pictures of what they saw, because from the drawings, and there was a picture. Yes, that's it. There was a picture of that Brian Froud, who's very famous for drawing fairies. He's got a card deck, I think. Yeah, actually, I sell it on my website. What am I talking about? It's a fairy card deck, and he's very famous at painting fairies. He's got a picture of what this fairy that they saw looked like. And both of them swear to this day that, they weren't imagining it. But I can see why the fairy would be on that property. And that it was above the water is very interesting to me. And so anyways, I always ask people, have you seen anything strange? So I try to get these eyewitness accounts, So have you guys ever seen anything you thought was a fairy?
Yes. When I was a teenager, I used to lay underneath the cherry tree. I used to, lay a blanket down, and I was there, reading, and I thought I saw something like run near the blades of grass and my mother's flowers. And I just kept staring, and I could have swore, I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm crazy. But I looked again, and I knew. I was like, that was a little fairy. And of course, you don't want to tell anybody that. And I did. Finally, I think it was the next day, I told my mom, I said, I know what I saw. And it was like running and playing. And it was the cutest little thing. And then, it was like it ran inside the flower, and then just a couple years ago, I had one, I think it came into the house with me. I'm sure it did, because I felt something pinch me. And when I looked down, it looked like it ran. And of course, I didn't say anything. I did go to one of my friends, that has, her abilities. And I told her what happened, and she agreed. She felt it was like a little, she didn't call it a fairy. She called it a pixie.
Yeah.
But it actually pinched, my foot. And I did happen to look later, and there was a little dime laying. And, they like the shiny things. So, but yeah. Pardon?
So
he paid
that's
you for
cool.
Yeah, it was cool. At the time I was, but now that I, have learned what I've learned, I truly, I'm not ashamed to say it.
Right. So Brian, what did you and Pauline see?
Well, to be honest, we were taking photographs of orbs, and you can't see them yourself, but if you take a flash of them, a photograph, you can normally pick them out pretty well. Well, we get hundreds here for some reason, and believe it or not, we took a photograph and it lit up this, and it was an angel without any shadow of a doubt at all. You could see the glow of the wings as it was sort of coming down. We've got a great big tree out in the backyard, a big palm tree, and we're sort of underneath that and about 10, 15 foot off the floor. And it was absolutely gobsmacked. But funny part about it, the photograph itself disappeared. It was on Pauline's camera, and when we went through, after we'd seen it for the first time, we went through again the next day, and it wasn't there. So what happened?
Oh, wow.
It was quite strange, though, really, Corinne. Let's say we get dozens of orbs here, and mostly the orbs have pictures of dogs. Strange to relate, but we often get them with people's faces, but heck of a lot of them have got dogs and puppies and so on and so forth, because we're both mad keen on little wooflers.
Right.
So once you've seen one yourself and you know it's certain, you can't deny it, can you? It's there. So beautiful stuff.
Right. That is cool. And it says in this book, Brian, that that wherever the three magical trees, oak, ash, and thorn, grow together is a place where fairies gather, and the space between two oaks offers an entrance to fairyland. Now, I love trees. I love studying all different kinds of trees. But you guys, wouldn't this be so cool if we actually saw these I mean, I've got to move my tree a little bit better. But willows also, sacred to the moon goddess and the crone goddesses, are said to move at night. The elder is the ultimate fairy tree. And if you wear a crown of elder twigs on May Eve, which is the 30th of April, you will be able to see these magical creatures. Now, I was always also told that a stone with a natural hole through it, if you look through a stone with a natural hole through it on June 21st, which is Midsummer's Eve, you could see fairies. And only when I met a guy wearing a necklace a few days before June 21st one year, and he had a stone with a natural hole in it he was wearing on his neck. And I said, can I borrow that for, tomorrow night or whenever it was? And he goes, no. And I was so mad. I was like, I wanted that stone.
Can supply you with many of those.
I've never been able. What's that, Brian?
I can supply you with many of those. I used to take the little stones and actually bore holes right through them. I've got all the equipment for it, And
no, it's got to be a natural hole. It's got to be a natural hole.
I've not come across any of those. I made a necklace for someone, one of the kids. That went down real well. So.
Mhm. Yeah, but anyways, I think that's interesting. I'd love to see those pictures, Shelby. Wow. I wish that Shelby could tell us her experience with fairies.
Yeah.
If Shelby wants to turn on her mic, she can. You know how we are here. Anybody can talk. Anybody can speak up. I already offered her that.
Right, and of course there's the story of the Cottingley fairies. Okay. Oh, okay. Sorry, Shelby. The Cottingley fairies is those two little girls took pictures in the Victorian era, and what's his name? Sir Arthur Conan Doyle was all about these little girls because they took pictures of fairies. So on their deathbeds, one of them said that one of the photos was real and the rest of them were fake, that they had cut out little fairies and put them in the grasses to take pictures. Mm-hmm. And the other lady said that all the pictures were fake, but they did really see the fairies in the gardens. So that's a very famous story. You guys probably know that story, but
it was made into a movie.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So,
Shelby, why are you in a hospice room, sweetheart? Change the subject, sorry.
I think she's with her mom.
I said, why are you in hospice?
Wonderful person.
Give her our love. Okay, moment of quiet for Shelby to help her mom transition. We all send our love. All right, Corinne.
Yeah.
She's away from the mic. I do believe that you're supposed to read us some poetry today. Possibly, maybe. Yes.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Okay, sorry. I hate that little delay. Not that I'm above talking over someone else.
It's okay. But, talking over Brian. It's cool.
Okay.
I'll mute him.
Yeah. So, Shelby, you're in our prayers, definitely. Wow. God. That's such a hard thing. Okay, so poetry. So yes, I'm a little disappointed Leo's not here because I wanted to,
Leo has sent his apologies, but his friend who he had asked for healing for his friend's friend, the friend passed away, and he chose to go be with them. And I said, yes, you can read your poetry any other time. So while you are finding one, I have one. It's called The Circle of Mutual Respect and Open Sharing. This is by a very good friend of mine, who is now on the other side, watching over me very closely, Roger Briggs. Okay, it goes. Ask yourself, where did I come from? What strange and curious path has led me to this particular here and now? Have I been guided on this journey by my head? Was I guided by my heart? Or perhaps there has been some greater divine power here at play. We are neither followers nor are we leaders. We are fellow travelers, and it should seem that for many of us, our once separate and diverse paths are now converging, coming together from all over this our Mother Earth, coming together from all walks of life and all cultural backgrounds, coming together into a circle of mutual respect and acceptance to participate in an open sharing of all that we have learned and all that we have realized, all we have journeyed for so long to become, and to shine a welcoming light for those who have yet to arrive. Roger A. Briggs.
Wow.
Beautiful.
I'm going to put that into the chat room so that...
It's a pity Kathy's
Roger
not here.
was off. Yeah, I know.
Well,
Roger, just, what a beautiful person,
Roger was my sunshine.
Yeah.
If Nell's up and about.
I mean, Naked Earth Lady.
Well, I do have some poems.
Well, please.
Of course.
Let's see. Supergirl wrote poetry. Go for it, girl.
Okay, so I'm going to read just 3 really short ones, and then we'll talk about it. Okay. So I just pulled these out. They're like, these are, they might be in some of my books. I'm not sure. But, so anyways, all right. This one's called Unable to Sleep. There is the sound this morning of rooftop wings, sad traffic below. 3 times now I have witnessed your wounds. Is it love that suddenly makes you holy, allows your touch to transform the dark, decay, and doubt into wild faith? Children and animals are drawn to you. Small worlds are obliterated. On this pilgrimage, I walk barefoot down the long avenue of addiction. Another unfinished night, unable to sleep with you in its arms. That's that.
That's nice.
This one is In the Dream. Leaves of desire cover the windows, color of fire and sky. And in the dream, I awaken at the 247 motel and twice call out your name. Through the parted curtain, the street lamp shines like a prop of the full moon, though it flickers in November wind, imperfect and hollowed. And this was your dream of ecstasy and thorns, of divinity falling like a star from the north. You can obviously tell these are poems about love and maybe love affairs too.
Yes, love.
Well,
Love
it figures because, Valentine's Day is just around the corner.
Yeah, so is my birthday.
Oh, really?
day after Valentine's. So if you want to buy me flowers, they'll be really cheap on sale the day after.
Oh, my goodness.
And so will the candy.
Oh, sorry, I'll have eaten all the candy. Thank you very much.
Okay, so Jackie just posted, not forever on the earth. Perchance do we truly live on earth, not forever on earth, but briefly here. Be it jade, it too will be broken. Be it gold, it too will be melted. And even the plume of the quetzal decays. Not forever on earth, but briefly here. And that's an Aztec. That was nice.
Thank you, Jackie.
And Eric says he had a poem written for him by Jody Whitewolf. He'd like to share it.
Yes, please.
Mm-hmm. To Whom It May Concern by Jody Whitewolf. To whom it may concern, this note is for you. Yes, you. Did you think we weren't listening, that you cried out to us and we did not hear? Did you think that because your answers were not loud and clear and immediate, that we had deserted you? What part of the do-it-yourself movement did you not get? We adore you, you know that. And so you think that when you ask, you should receive. And oh, yes, you most certainly do receive, but it is not always in the form you hunger for. Sometimes our greatest gift to you is time and the tasting of your own wisdom and the taking of your own steps, your own way, so you can learn and grow and move and feel your own power, not always relying on ours. Sometimes the loudest response we give you is silence. Wow.
Really nice.
Rock on, Jody. Thank you, Eric. And thank you, Corinne, for reading it.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Here's another short one, you guys. It's called Compass. I am waiting by the river, thinking of tragedy and chastity and all the rules of heaven. Do not show me your face or let me feel the compass of your arms. I do not want to know them when they are gone. Yeah, I don't want to know them when they're gone.
Wow. I could have Corrine just read to me when I go to bed at night. Just read me to sleep. Read me a story.
Jackie wrote, from the Book of Indian Poetry, each is attributed to the culture it came from, not an individual, as they believe words belong to all.
Nice. Now,
yeah, all very beautiful with a message or two, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Now, can I read this to you? It's called Of Angels, and I wrote it for all of us who feel that we're just, you know, and I know it sounds very arrogant to say, I'm different than everyone else. But you are, you know what I mean?
Yes, everybody is.
Yeah, we are.
Right. So, and this is actually, I think, in my book. I think I put this in the Sensitive Souls guidebook. But anyways, okay, it's called Of Angels. Once an angel was sent to Earth and told she would only be there for a short while, but would live without the knowledge of where she came from. She would appear like all the other humans on Earth, only her heart would be that of an angel's. Before she was born on Earth, her wings were removed. It left 2 tiny scars on her back, twin crescent-shaped marks like quarter moons. As she grew from a baby into a young woman, she often thought of odd things that other girls her age didn't seem to notice. She thought of the brilliant architecture of trees and flowers and how beautiful their colors were. She noticed the varied hues of each sunset and how the shapes of clouds always differed. She thought of strangers when they walked by her and did not smile. She wondered why some people were cruel to one another. When she watched the news with all of its sadness and despair, she would cry. She did other things that people thought were odd, like collecting summer rain in a jar and keeping snow from the first snowfall in her freezer. She gathered autumn leaves in the fall and brought them into her home, scattering them around as if there were shedding trees in her living room. She made gifts for children and adults she did not know who seemed to need a bright surprise. She chased butterflies through the meadows and whispered prayers to them when she got close enough. She tied hopeful messages to balloons and let them go, believing they would land in the right place at the right time. Some people called her strange or weird, especially when they saw her doing these things. Often in her heart, she herself would feel removed, as if she was not quite part of this world. It made her feel lonely, and though she laughed and giggled a great deal, she also wept often. Now and then she would have a sense of belonging, but there was always something pulling her from the usual earthly ways. She simply could not conform to being a normal human being. And so as she got older and she became a woman, she still swung on the playground swings and held birdseed in her hand so the birds would come to her, and wrote messages of encouragement in the snow for anyone to read, and sprinkled tiny stars on sidewalks so that when it rained they would be tracked into houses where wishes were needed. Many years passed on earth, but to an angel it is very quick. Finally, when her time to live in this world was finished, and she had experienced much joy and much sorrow, she was once again given her wings. And she knew then that every one of us begins our journey on earth the same way, but that it was easy to forget in our hearts that we are here for each other, and that if we only take care to remember, our wings will be there when we need them.
Beautiful. Either that is in the book, or you've read that to me before. I think so. I've heard that. That is beautiful.
I put a link to the Amazon site for the Sensitive Souls Guide. So if anybody wants to read Corinne's poetry, very awesome poetry.
Yeah, get the book. Very good book.
Yeah, and it's not just poetry. That book it has some of my poems. Thank you, darling, for doing that. Thank you. But that one is more of a sort of biographical slice of life book. But I have tons of poetry. Not tons. I've got like 6 or 7 poetry books on Amazon as well. But yeah. So I mean that of angels is. Because we do feel different, and we try. And as the poem that Eric gave us here by Jody Whitewolf, it's like, yeah, we don't get immediate answers for our questions. Of course we don't, right? But there are, but it's there. Like like it says in the poem, sometimes the loudest response we give you is silence.
Exactly.
And although we do seek out people to help us on this journey, which I'm always going to do, always going to seek out help and advice and, inspiration from other people. But it really is up to us to figure this stuff out ourselves. So that's a hard one, though. You know what I mean? Because I want everyone to tell me, I mean, I don't want anyone to tell me what to do, but I need to know a lot of different things. But I reject that silence, and we often reject the silence because we just don't want to, be faced completely with ourselves and our own mind. Do you guys agree with that?
Mm-hmm. We look for the big response instead of listening to the silence, to the little whispers, to the little things. Yeah.
Eric is saying, most people know I write opening prayers with the help of my writing guide, and I'm being told someone needs to hear one tonight. It's not poetry, but would like to post it.
Go for it.
Excellent.
Yes, Jackie, they are.
And, prayer, poetry, and spells are basically the same thing, Spells are prayers are spells. I mean, they are.
Can't hear.
There was nothing, but we all went silent. Yes. I think it was because we all just went silent. I know it's really silent because for a while there, Brian had no sound. Sorry. I had to get my dig in there.
Right.
Okay, Brian, if you're talking, I know your mic's on, but it's okay. So long as you can...
Yes, I can hear.
Okay, there we go.
You guys, I saw like a 8 or 10 point buck the other day here.
Oh, wow.
And it was so huge and beautiful. And so I guess he's been walking around here, and but I mean, when he when he gets rid of his antlers, I hope to find them, but I doubt I'm going to find them, but that would be so cool if I could.
It'd be awesome.
Right. Well, maybe ask.
Oh, good idea.
Yeah, maybe ask. Diane says, I just tried to order Corinne's book, but I cannot do it. Warranty issues and manufacturer restrictions prevent us from shipping certain products to
But you can order from you can order it from CorinneDeWinter.com.
Okay,
and
hang on, let me get...
I can actually inscribe it to you if you do it that way too.
Okay, hang on a second. I will get your website up there. Give me a second.
Thanks, Diane. That's interesting that you can't order it from outside the country.
I think maybe it's the area because she's in Australia, so it's got to go down there. It's probably Brock's fault.
You can get hold of books sent through from England, not at all. The book
that
depository.
Or try ordering them.
Book depository. They get everything and send it everywhere in the world, and there's no postal charges.
No shipping. Yes.
Okay, so Eric posted the poem. Do you want me to read it, you guys?
Yes, please.
Okay, opening prayer. Let us blend our thoughts together, Father God. As we join together in prayer, praising your name, we ask a blessing be placed on each head bowed here and each house represented. We ask a blessing on the committee of this church and others like it to keep your light shining out as a beacon of hope for all to see forevermore. We ask, Father, that you bless all those who are in need, your healing balm this evening, those on beds of sickness, feel thy healing strength, that those in need to food and shelter receive a warm meal and dry bed for this evening. We pray, Father, that all those about to take their passing to the higher side of life may be met by their loved ones and guides to make that transition easier, and in all things they know your guiding hand. We also pray, Father, for those in the forces fighting overseas, May the leaders of these brave souls be led to the table of peace and the conflicts calmed. May the loved ones of these children be blessed with their safe return to the bosom of their family. Father, we ask a blessing for the children of our world, for they are our future, and a blessing be placed on the animal kingdom, for they receive so much suffering at the hands of man, when all they ask for is love, food, and shelter. We pray, Father, that a blessing be put on those in the field of research, that they may find cures for what are now deemed incurable, and a blessing be placed around the whole world in its entirety to heal it from the horrors man has inflicted on it. Finally, Father, we ask that you allow the rainbow bridge of light to be built between our two worlds, so our inspirers and guides may bring our loved ones forward to prove to us again that life exists after so-called death. All this we ask this evening in your name, which is love. Amen.
Amen. Beautiful.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you, Bill.
Yeah.
Thank you, Corinne, for reading that. Yeah, it's beautiful.
And there is a link to Corinne's website.
Thank you, darling.
You're welcome. Thank you. You do all the reading and I do all the copying and pasting.
Well, I actually have, if I can find the poem, you guys, it's about Native Americans, and it's, hold on, let me see if I can see it. If I can find it. I wonder how many poems I have. Too many.
Nothing wrong with that. I mean, you're a poet.
Is there such thing as too many?
Well, this one actually, do you guys know the story? I'm sorry, you guys, because I'm here like, oh, I want to read my stuff, I'm like,
hello? Do you hear me or Jennifer or Brian complaining? No. The only person complaining is you.
You guys probably
Stop complaining, woman.
Okay, so I'm going to read this to you. It's called Mythology. And it's a letter to, do you remember River Phoenix, who died? The actor.
Yes.
Okay. So it's a letter to him. Dear River, I don't dream of places anymore. I don't dream of fantastic colors, electric blue or hot pink. These days, even New York City has lost its color. City of stripped cars and Broadway smiles and homicide in the water system. Living here, you taste blood in everything. And you wonder why Lenin wanted to call it home. And if he dreamed he was coming to die on the steps of the Dakota for the small kindness of signing his name. But that's a crime that fits this city. All of the people, every song, every shred of faith, like Aurora moving through the sewers, every light gathered from Times Square cannot warm me. Even in summer, when all the suspects are out and temperatures are rising, it's cold, perhaps more so. This city survives all like cockroaches in spite of its hell. It's not where you are, though, that really dissolves you. The West is worse with its bright description of sun and wealth and Hollywood bullshit. Hollywood exists only in imagination. It is squalor, pornography, addiction. It's Ouroboros eating its own tails. But we need stars to crucify. We need stars to crucify us. We are willing, they are willing, and so Hollywood exists on a very fragile level of unreality. Here and now is a time of unforgiving, but it's forgiveness itself that we really have to learn to work into our bones. We have to learn to let go, But is there anything more difficult than letting go? It's a sliver of human nature that must be pulled from us rather than given freely. It's so hard trying to stay sweet. You know that. It's difficult because we inherently know that living means we will be broken. And life is full of people who just couldn't help it. Cruelty isn't only for the gods. We are all capable of it any time, though we see it as a defect of humanity. River, there are so many like you, blonde androgynous angels trying to sell themselves, starving in the midst of gluttony. Maybe in our own way, we are all trying to become legends, to rise out of the gray, to be supernatural. What girl isn't a little Marilyn deep inside? She imagines her smile able to melt He-Man coolness, that she has only to think of something magical to make it come true. And what boy doesn't have a fragment of Dean, a heart full of the Midwest, willing to spit in the face of authority, to risk his life for that one thrill? We are these dead stars at some time in our lives, but we are also the empty celluloid of them after the script has been deserted, after the prop burned to cinders in a $10 million fire. We are sold at auction with their mementos. I still see myself dancing with Gary Cooper at the Cotton Club on a rainy night, and he's years from getting cancer and playing the clever weathered cowboy. Oh, he's always been the perfect American hero. In every photograph, he is more handsome than any star to grace the silver screen. And the women swoon around him like water lilies. In the decades to follow, thousands of pretty boys would reach for that position and fail. Yes, River, I see boys like you every day. I think of your life and the way it had to play out. How that last scene was without dialogue or direction. How the stars sprinkled like angel dust over you, glittering in an impossible blinding pattern. Beautiful boy, you come out of the fairy tale, where even in those soft environs is torture and infanticide. You come dancing out of those pages, skin humming of summer. You fall out of Eden and go in search of the pusher, the one who looks wholesome because he knows better than to get hooked on his own junk. And maybe you slide rather than walk down Sunset where Morrison exacted his myth. And the girls there who are half angel, half demon, blonde and pink and raw with all the promise their eyes can hold, they give you what you need and then some. In the rooms at the Chateau Marmont, they come to you. They rise from the dead to come to you, to taste your sweetness like a red poppy. And in these motel and hotel mirrors, wiped clean each morning, you are told, you will be beautiful forever. You will be beautiful. Does it matter that an overweight comedian died a little each night on these tiles? Does it matter that a 17-year-old prostitute was strangled and stuffed beneath the sink? Does it matter? You will be beautiful. The stars will keep shining in their mad constellations. The curves of the rich will keep being kind. Little ones in countries we shall never see will continue to wake with hunger pains. And throughout all, you will be beautiful. You tried to be holy, to hang on to the collection of halos, but the world eaters consumed you. You tried to recall the colors of your first sunset, your high dives from the precipice of the gorge near your childhood home. You tried to remember the smell of oleander and earth in July, the colors of the fireflies that scared your little sister. You tried to remember how warm the summer rain was as it fell across your forehead, but these things were lost to you. The things of youth are wild horses, and it's no mystery the way the world turns. They smile and they move on, River. They smile and they move on.
Very beautiful. Wow.
I've got to start writing more. I mean, I just got to start writing more,
Yeah. Wow, beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you. I know it's kind of long.
No. What is...
Okay, so here's another one by Eric. It's a snapshot view of this modern world. A grandma is a lady who has no little children of her own. She likes other people's. A grandfather is a man grandma. Grandmas don't have to do anything except be there. They are old, so they shouldn't play hard or run, just garden. It's enough if they drive us to the store and have a lot of dimes ready. When they take us for walks, they slow down past things like pretty leaves and caterpillars. They never say, hurry up. Usually grandmas are fat, but not too fat to tie your shoes. They wear glasses and funny underwear. They can take their teeth out. Grandmas don't have to be smart. They only have to answer questions like, is God married? And how come dogs chase cats? When they read to us, they don't skip lines or mind if we ask for the same story over again. Everybody should try to have a grandma, especially if you don't have a TV, because grandmas are the only grown-ups who have the time for us kids.
That's awesome, Eric. And yes, very true.
It was written by a 5-year-old in first grade, I guess, school, and it's this kid's idea of a grandma. Oh, that's cute. That's really cute. Wow. So any pointers from you, Jennifer, on how, because I know you journal like crazy.
Well, I've been journaling for years. That was one of my favorite subjects in high school was journalism, and I was told that I needed to keep it up. But yeah, I've been journaling for years. I've been told I need to write a book, but yeah, I journal all the time. I journal things that happen. I've been journaling my story. I have a dream journal. I keep a journal about all my dreams. But yeah, I've got many journals here. I just haven't decided what I'm going to actually do with them.
Right. Well, okay. So, but you probably don't let a day go by without journaling. Is that true? And also keeping track of your dreams.
Yeah, there's there's tons of paper around here. Yeah. I find that very important, and that has really helped throughout the years of this journey. Was the journaling, and there were many nights I would sit up all night. I couldn't sleep, and I would journal all night and watch the crazy stuff that was going on, or the crazy stuff I'd be hearing, seeing. But yeah, I feel that's a very important part. And then sometimes you go back and read what you wrote later, and it pretty amazing.
Well, Shelby wants to hear some of it.
Good night, Eric. Shelby wants to hear what?
Some of your journal.
Oh, some of my journal? Oh, I would have to pull things out. Oh, my goodness.
I knew that would make you nervous, Jennifer.
Yeah, I'd have to pull some of my stuff out. I mean, it's just, like I said, it's just over the years, I'd be reading a certain book, and then all of a sudden I'd be living some of the things that was going on in the book. I would journal about that. I mean, I've been journaling actually since the late part of 2011.
Yeah. Right.
So, Yeah, there's a lot in those books.
Did you ever try to automatic write? And you might actually be automatic writing when you're actually journaling.
Actually, that's funny you say that. Yeah. This has been going on quite a while. Like I get up all hours of the night. I get up early in the morning, when I can't sleep or, I'm having a dream. I get up and start, I write. But, yes, there's many a times that I would just start writing or doodling, or even if I was sitting on the phone and somebody else is talking, I would just write these things and later go back and look, and it's like, this isn't words that I would use, or I actually sometimes don't remember, reading, saying some of this stuff or writing some of this stuff. And,
right.
Yeah, it's even like in some of these posts, like the angel eyes. There's been nights, I'd be on Facebook, and as quite a few of you know, I do get messages through Facebook posts, things that just pop up. And, I'd be sitting there, and the one night, I had a visitor here, and I was hearing, the angel eyes, and something told me to post it on Facebook. I typed it out, and obviously I hit the enter button, and I didn't think about it, and I thought, later I thought, that's crazy. I went and, got up from the computer, and it popped in my head. I'm like, did I really post that? I went back and looked. So that night,
right.
I had quite a few visitors, and I thought, well, it's time to shut down, and I'm going to go lay down. I felt that I was going to get more of a message once I laid down because of all the chaos and, the mind clutter. And I went and I laid down, and of course I went into dream. I was woke up at a certain time. First thing I heard was, turn on the coffee pot, you're going to need it. So I figured it's going to be a long night. I was walking through the hallway, and something said, popped the computer on, and as soon as I logged in, it popped right in front of me, and it was, a comment from Ruth. So I found angel eyes, and that led into a reading, and, it's just how it works. But there's other things, I've posted before. It's like something says post it, and you just don't realize, you look at it later and like, hey, did I really, did I say that? It's, you just forget about it. It's happened a couple times. But yes, I do. I'll write things and I'll look at them, and it's like, those aren't my words. I would never use those words. And, and it does, what you write does make sense. And, and I keep those separately. And I have been told that, I was doing that. So, but it is interesting.
So you don't want to read a page from your journal?
Oh, no, no, not really. I'd have to pull out the journal.
Don't read the naughty parts.
Right. I keep my journal separate. I actually keep a drawer in the middle, right underneath my keyboard. And I actually keep two journals sitting there now, and they're open. And one is for, when I'm jumping up at whatever time to write, these dreams out. And the other's what I'm doodling when I'm, talking to somebody. Sometimes, like I said, it turns into a reading. But I've been more drawing things or doing the scribbling thing. And sometimes you can see words in the scribble. That's sort of something new that I've noticed too. It's like I'm not paying attention to the paper, but I'll be like doodling, scribbling, and then I guess sometimes I'm writing a word and then, doodling over top of it, but you can see the word underneath the scribble because I write that darker.
Yeah.
But I haven't, like I said, sometimes I think, oh, I should just throw some of this stuff away. I do not just toss my paper. I burn it. My daughter has a fire pit. And, so I got a bag, the weather's been, it's not bonfire weather here. So, and sometimes, it's like, okay, I can't keep all this stuff, but it has been interesting.
Yeah. So why do you burn it though?
I don't know. I don't know. My daughter has to say, well, why don't you just toss it? For some reason, I feel that, some of these things, need to be burned. Some things, like Jackie, hide the evidence. Some things like dreams or things that, dreams or some things that have come, that I wouldn't want somebody to see. If somebody was to ever run across this, there's some things I wouldn't want other people to see. So it's something I just feel it's safer just to throw the bag in a bonfire and burn.
Sometimes it's like letting the words go back to the universe to be shared again.
Right.
Some of her writings
well, you could also
some of her writings are 50 Shades. No, not anymore.
Yeah, Jackie's a regular freaking. Jennifer's a regular freaking 50 Shades of Grey lady. That would be funny though.
Yeah, many years ago, maybe, but
that's a horrible book. I'm sure Jennifer is a better writer than that.
Yeah, I know. I didn't see that movie. I didn't read that book.
It's horrible.
Yeah, I know somebody said, what is there a new one out now?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, some people went to see it.
Well, there was like a trilogy, wasn't there?
Yeah, something like that.
But
all the young girls are saying take an extra pair of panties with you. You go see it, it's like, oh, okay, whatever.
Okay, well, somebody did a review on it up here in Canada, and out of 5 stars, the guy gave it 1 slap. He was like not impressed.
No, that kind of stuff doesn't impress me either. I don't.
And the other thing is when you're reading bad books like that one, if you read trash, that's what you're going to write like. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. No, I'm into all my spiritual stuff. I'm nothing but spiritual anymore,
Brian sent me a message. Sorry, guys. Brian sent me a message. The computer overheated, so he said he'd try and get back soon.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't see him in here.
We lost quite a few over the couple minutes I had to disappear.
Yeah, Darlene, they ran out when I started reading.
No. Stop. So, Corrine, your birthday's coming up. What do you have planned? Anything witchy going on?
I do have something planned. Get this, you guys. And I never have plans on my birthday, but I had some friends over last week, and they decided that they wanted to, they asked me if I would like to do this thing. It's called something puzzle. So you're locked in a room for an hour, and your job is to figure out the clues in order to get out of the room. And this mystery is that there's a missing professor of the paranormal. So you have to find where the guy disappeared to. Yeah, it's a new fad. you have to find out where the guy disappeared to, and I guess in finding out where he disappeared to, you get out of the room. So, no, I didn't get an axe, but that's a good idea, Shelby. Maybe I'll bring one.
Oh, wow, yeah.
So, anyways, maybe it'll be interesting, you know?
Yeah.
Do a live video, a live Facebook feed. If it's only an hour, you can do it.
Oh, that's a good idea. Right. Excellent.
Shelby said wear a head cam.
Head cam, right.
Strap your cell phone to your head.
Yeah, that's a really good idea. I'm going to ask, you know, because you can take footage on a phone, right? I don't have a phone that can do it, but you can, right?
Well, yeah, but cell phones now, with the cell phones now is when you do the Facebook Live. So you can just, I do them with donuts in the morning sometimes just to irritate people. And you just talk and people watch live while you're doing it. And then it stays on Facebook and people have done it for hours. So, I mean, get somebody with a Facebook,
that would be
with a phone, log your Facebook into it, and live feed your escape from the crazy house. I mean,
that's only if I look good on camera.
You don't have to be on camera. The live feed doesn't have to be you. It could be the looking around the room and the whole spiel, because you can change your camera angles, whether it's looking towards you or away from you. So why not?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Yeah, I wonder, they probably don't limit you from filming. I mean, how can they, right?
Right. Yeah, I'm sure there's going to be other people there doing it too.
Right. Well, so there's 8 people. So we could, now I have 6 people going in my group, but the group, you can have up to 8 people. And if 2 other people are there at the same time and they don't have another group to go, then they're going to go with us. So we could be with strangers too, which is interesting, you know? We'll see.
Right.
But yeah, so that's about all I have planned for my birthday. I don't like birthdays.
Why not?
Yeah, I know.
I celebrate the birthdays because it's the day that I was put on this earth to torture people.
Right. Well, now that you put it up.
Yeah, I'm put here so I can torture people. And Brian's not in the room, but normally I'm torturing him. It all depends on how you look at it. And Corrine, you're still young, so, you have a long ways to go before you can start really disliking your birthdays.
Yeah,
Corrine, how old are you going to be? How old are you going to be? Like what? 36, 37? Huh?
Exactly.
There you go.
How did you know?
Right.
Yeah. I must be psychic or psychotic, depending on the day of the week.
Oh boy. So, have you guys heard any good psychics lately? Because I actually was watching. I watched a couple Teresa Caputo's things on YouTube.
But
have you guys seen her?
Are they her shows or are they her actual? Because the thing is,
she was. Go ahead.
The thing is, with Teresa Caputo, I had a guest on one of my other shows, C. George, and he knows her, and he said that she's not like the picture, the person that she's a little bit like what they portray in the show, but the show is like, they only highlight what they want for the ratings, and and again, nobody can honestly say, go into, because look at some of the shops she goes into. People are immaculately dressed, immaculate makeup, so there's no way, like, excuse me, can I come in and do a reading here? There's somebody who goes in beforehand and says, Teresa Caputo will be here. Make sure you're dressed. She might do a reading live on camera, but no, she's nothing.
I know. No, what I watched was her on other shows.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell you, I've never watched her show, but I know it's all bullshit, okay? Yeah. And so when she was on other shows, she is terrible, you guys. She's terrible. You've seen her live twice. You loved it, Jackie? Was she good?
I went too. I loved it. And yes, she was awesome.
Really?
Her live shows are nothing like the television show. Oh, yes.
She's as good as Renee?
Oh, yeah,
Would you
she's
say?
good. Oh, yes, she's good. She is good.
Because when I watched these few shows she was on live, she didn't get anything for anybody.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Everybody always points out the yeses, and there's very few. Was it somebody I was talking to, and they said they spoke to somebody, I think it was it John Edwards? Mm-hmm. And he said, what is the thing that you like the least about being on camera? And I said, they never show the no's. They always show the yes, yes, oh yes, I get it, I read it, I can feel it, or yes, I'm connected to that, but they never show the no's that they get, because people do get no's. Psychics, mediums, they always, they do get no's, and if Eric was still here, instead of snoozing, he would tell you that there are times when then he does get no's, but they don't get to show it. So whatever it is that she showed, whoever put it up, whether it was her or somebody else, may have put it up for exactly that reason,
Yeah,
I'm sure Renee gets no's as well, but not that it
yeah, but really, I mean, okay, so like Chris at Curious Times would say, I'm going to stick up for Renee no matter what Renee does because I like her. I love her.
Yes.
But that's not true. And I know two people that got readings from Teresa Caputo, and both of them got readings from Renee, and they said Renee blew away Teresa.
But there? And
I believe that. And so anyways, I mean, maybe she is good. I'm all right. Sorry, I'm not trying to give her a hard time.
That's okay.
But, yeah. Right, Shelby, I know.
Exactly. And that's, I know I've told you the story, but that's exactly because it was supposed to be, my anniversary, date was coming up. And of course, my husband's no longer here, but my daughter, she was in town, and my daughter wanted me to get to go. She knew I used to watch Teresa on TV, and she wanted me to go, and she ended up going with me, and she didn't really want to. She got tickets for, me to take somebody else. And, my kids have all grown up around this, but with everything that was going on with me, it really opened up my daughter's eyes. That experience was meant more for her to witness than it was me. But yeah, right. It was pretty awesome. Right. And believe me, something she'll never forget.
Right. But she's no pioneer, Shelby. Teresa's no pioneer, I don't think.
Who's talking about you?
I'm no pioneer.
No, she's too young to be a pioneer. She's only 36, 37.
But so, and then of course I was bawled out last week or the week before about Sylvia Brown.
What?
Which I don't want to get into again necessarily, but so there was 2 incidents with Sylvia Brown where she gave information to people that were looking for their missing children. And Sylvia told, the first couple, she told them, no, your son is dead. So the parents called off the search for the son. Lo and behold, the kid was found 2 years later alive. Okay, so that was bad because they actually went, called off the search for the kid, and then they found the kid, okay? Besides that, Sylvia claimed that she never charged anyone for looking for missing children. she told the family that they had to come up with $800 if she was going to help them further after they went off the Montel Williams, because they asked her on the Montel Williams show. So, okay, so that was bad. The next thing is she told another couple that their daughter was dead and where to find her. Gave all the specific things, where to find the body. And lo and behold, she wasn't dead either. Okay. So, I was simply saying in my argument that you have a huge responsibility as a psychic or medium. You have a huge responsibility not to give bad information.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And, especially when you're giving bad information and being very cocky and snotty about it and dismissive. That is wrong. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Well,
so that's what bothers me about, some of these psychic mediums. And I'm not saying Teresa does that. I've never seen Teresa do that.
Yeah.
But, I think that Sylvia Brown, me and my mother used to watch that. My mother loved her because that was like one of the first psychics to come out, But, it's just like I said, I think all of us here can agree that it is a huge, responsibility.
Yes.
To give, not to give bad information,
Yeah.
Well, Corinne, I want you, next week we have a psychic medium from New Zealand coming. But the one I have the feeling I really want you to be is April the 9th. We're going to have Mark Anthony, the psychic lawyer.
Oh, good.
I definitely want you here for that, and because he's willing to ask. I've listened to a few of the other shows that he's been on and things, and he answers a lot of questions. A very interesting man. I think that you're gonna search him out, yeah. And I want you to search him out. I want you to do Google, and he's got a YouTube channel and does YouTube videos and the interviews that he's been on. So go do that, and I want you back here for that show. I think this is going to be good.
Yeah, so he's a lawyer. Is that what you said?
Yeah,
Darlene?
he's a lawyer. He's a psychic lawyer.
It's
Mark Anthony.
Mark Anthony. You remember him, don't you?
Yeah. No, I don't. From where, Jennifer?
Well, we won't.
Wasn't he on?
Yeah, he was on something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
He was on somebody else's show. He was no longer in our circle, but.
Okay.
But.
Yeah, the psychic lawyer.
Yeah.
All right. I remember that now.
Okay. So, I want you here. I will remind you.
Okay, yeah, definitely.
I was sending
now, so when people are giving readings, you guys, when people are giving readings and, they're just saying, like, supposing I'm giving you a reading right now, Darlene, and I say to you, your daughter is having a little bit of an issue with her stomach right now. And, okay, so that's harmless, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then I say to you, okay, so I'm giving you a harmless reading, and I'm saying, your daughter's does your daughter have stomach problems? One of your daughters have stomach problems, and then, and then I say, I see you going on a trip. You're going to be going on a trip. It's only a couple hours away, but, like these are harmless things, whether they're right or not, just, because, most psychics will tell you this is for entertainment purposes only, just to cover their asses, right?
Well, in the UK,
and that's fine. So, but if you're saying, like, I see you getting into a car accident and, I don't like that,
Yeah.
And I think that I think that you shouldn't say anything. You shouldn't give a reading with that kind of a message unless you can tell them how to avoid an accident, or you know what I'm saying? And it's like, it's very, it's, you guys know what I'm saying. I don't have to elaborate on it, but I mean, I just think like I mean, usually most of the readers I hear on BTR and, are just fluffy, they're just fluffy, and it's like, just fluff.
But I think that's all you can really do is fluff-wise. I think that's all you can really do on a radio show is give a certain amount of fluff, because you can't do a total. The person is really, really willing. You can't give a total an in-depth reading, because then it can get personal, and some people may not, like you said, you might be giving me a reading going, okay, your daughter's, there's a problem with her stomach, so then I'll think, okay, normally she doesn't have a problem with her stomach, but, I'll look into it, and it would be different if you came out and said, your daughter's got cancer of the stomach. It's like, okay, well, that's, but you lead up to it. So I guess to me, it depends again, the person as to how they put it. It's like if you say, well, if you were giving me a reading saying, look, Darlene, tomorrow you're going to get into a car and you're going to be in a car accident, It's like, okay, first off, Darlene wouldn't get into a car tomorrow. But, I'd ask, like, okay, can you tell me what kind of car? So, like, if it's a regular car, I drive an SUV, I'm sort of kind of okay. You watch how the person who's doing the reading and the person who's getting the reading both have to be open to asking questions and paying attention. But yeah, there are people out there who are, like I remember when I first sort of opened up to the spirituality, as I say, come out of my spiritual closet. I had a woman at work who said to me, "Oh my God, I would never go see people like you." I had somebody once tell me that I was going to die of colon cancer when I was 20 years old. I went, oh, lovely. First off, that person needed a swift kick in that butt. But I said, you should have as well, gotten up and left the table. But if you didn't, you should have asked more questions. Like, if you follow the same path that you're going, is that what you would end up doing? But did you change the way you think? It's not, everything is not, a reading is not written in stone. Unless they're talking about the past, a reading of the future is not written in stone. So we still have that, the freedom of choice, the free will,
right.
Aside from not listening to what the person has to say, but also take into consideration, okay, maybe, like you said, my daughter's got problems with her stomach. Maybe we go check it out, if you sort of notice these things, so then there's always a tiny tidbit of possibility, and if you discount everything, then yeah, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know I'm going to sound like a broken record now, but like you said, okay, so I had the incident a few weeks back where I had these two gals who had just lost their dad, who was my very good friend. Mm-hmm. And I brought them on. I was talking to Renee, and I brought them on out of nowhere. Didn't tell Renee I was bringing them on. And so I said, Renee, I hope you don't mind. I'm calling this Amy and her sister. They lost their father, and they wanted to see if you could pick up anything. So immediately, Renee starts getting all this information. She mm-hmm. told them his name. She knew he was a musician. She knew all this, his father's name, all this stuff. So she told them stuff for about an hour, all kinds of stuff. And they asked all these questions. And before I got off the phone with them, I said, do you guys have any other questions? Because I'm going to hang up with you guys right now, after an hour. Mm-hmm. So they're like, if they ask one more question, they got an answer. They got answers to everything. Okay. Mm-hmm. You get my point, right? So then I get a message from one of the girls, and Jennifer knows this story. I get a message from one of the daughters on Facebook, and she says, are you friends with her on Facebook? I said, yeah. She goes, well, couldn't she have just read my father's obituary? Now, That was wrong. That was so wrong of her to say that. And first of all, she didn't pay for the reading. Mm-hmm. Second of all, Renee did an amazing, amazing job giving them a reading about their father. And even Renee said in the reading, she said, your father is like shaking his head like, you guys don't get it. And I'm going to spend a lot of time trying to make you guys understand what is important in life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that was interesting to me. But, so anyways, and then it comes, I guess it comes back to, do you believe in life after death or don't you? And I put that, on that post on Facebook, I put, do you believe in life, or who here believes in life after death? And it got tons of responses. And I was shocked to see that about 50% of the people responding did not believe in life after death at all, maybe more than 50%. And I was like, oh my God, what the, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just so strange to me. It's like, I mean, how can you not believe that first, when people say we need scientific proof, the first law of science says energy never dies. We are energy. Energy never dies. That's the first law of science, okay? So it's like, really, so what do you guys think about people that don't believe in life after death? How has believing in life after death made your lives better? Let me ask that question.
Oh, wow. Well, I've always believed I've always believed and I've always known. But, when I was younger and I started talking about it, sometimes you were not supposed to talk about those things or the problems it was causing. And, I grew up in a crazy house. I saw crazy things happening all the time. Look how long it took me. I mean, there were years before I was afraid of psychics. I didn't want to be around one. I was always curious and I listened where everybody else in the family was, around, but I was afraid. I always heard things and saw things, but it wasn't until after yet another one, left that I knew I can't run from this because it's chasing me and it's not leaving me alone. I mean, this is adamant. This shit's not going away. That I had to embrace it. Either that or let everyone think I was loony bins. But no, I can't imagine, a lot of people, don't believe it. But we can't make anybody believe.
Exactly.
And most of those that, were naysayers, non-believers, telling me I was a kook and crazy. Well, I quit saying anything. Hey, believe what you want to believe, but I'm not going to shut myself down. And I've got a lot of people that used to think I was crazy coming to me telling me, you know what, you're not crazy after all.
Right.
I've got a lot of people that are telling me, hey, this is happening, that's happening, people coming to me, oh, I had this crazy dream. Well, now they're believers.
Shelby in the chat room said, even with tons of proof over the years, I was a non-believer until last year.
Right.
Shelby,
yeah.
what was it that last year that changed your mind? That not changed your mind, that opened your mind?
I bet it's Renee Richards.
I love Renee. Welcome to the tribe. Yeah.
Right.
Tribe of the kooks. We love kooks up here.
She woke up and realized she was a psychic medium, not crazy. Exactly.
And Shelby, I might say, I hear you're a hell of a psychic medium.
Awesome.
So maybe, Shelby, when you're ready, you'll come on. come and do a show with us. You don't have to do readings, but just tell us about that wake up. Because our show is not always about readings and shows. It's about telling us how, sharing your story.
We made her ears red.
So wait, I got first dibs on Shelby. She's coming on my show first.
Okay, she can come on your show first and then us after. I'm not going to argue the fact. I will bow to Corinne de Winter. I was afraid she'd kick my ass.
And once you realize, and you can't run from it anymore. And once you accept it, and everything really just starts flowing. Mm-hmm. And it gets, you get stronger and stronger and stronger. But there comes a time when you can't run from it anymore.
Yeah,
no. But so in believing in life after death, like you said, Jennifer, or Darlene, you just said you don't have to make people believe in it. But
nope.
I thought about this afterwards, you guys, and I actually wrote out why it was important for me to make people believe. And the gist of it was that I myself have gotten so much comfort from this,
Oh God, yes.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
And that I want them to have that too, but I know It's none of my business what they believe. But I don't know. I can't even imagine living and not, and believing that this is it. This is my whole existence ever, that when I die, I'm dead and nothing ever is going to, I don't know. To me, I guess, I don't know.
Yeah, well, a lot of people figure this out when they pass and when they get over there, and then they realize, shit, they were right. And then they'll figure out a way to come back and say, But I'm thinking that a lot of people, the young ladies that you were talking about, when their father passed and Renee gave them that the awesome reading, it's not the fact that they disbelieved per se. It's more that it was fear for her to be able to say, yes, this woman who doesn't know me from Jack got all this stuff so spot on, it's proof, but it's still, it's like she's afraid to believe it. So it's not that she was disbelieving it; she was still afraid of it. Eventually, everybody eventually does open up, whether it's here on this earthly plane, or when they transition to as Eric calls it, the higher side of life. There's everybody figures it out. It's like everyone. I remember growing up as a child, Catholic Church, and hell is fire and brimstone. I'm a woman of 55-year-old going, hell for me is snow and cold, and I don't believe fire and brimstone. Bring it on. A little bit hot maybe, but so everybody believes what they want to believe, and it changes over the years. But the young lady who called you up and says, well, maybe she read, well, that's if that what makes her feel better for that moment. She wasn't insult. It wasn't a form of insult to Renee. It was just her, putting the plaster over that wound. That it was still, saying, it's true. How can it be true? And not being able to hold it in your hands, But even though if you put your hands together, you can feel that energy. If you really think of it. Yeah.
Right. So then I didn't tell Renee that she said that to me, but when I posted that thing on Facebook, the girl commented about Renee in a bad way.
Well, and I stayed away from that post. I was like, oh Lord, Corrine, here we go. And I did say I didn't want to get involved or anything unless Renee's name got brought up. Mm-hmm. And it did. So then I did chime in, but I truly do believe that all that went on, I know that girl does believe. She said, I said, talk to him. But she says, I do talk to him. Well, if you don't believe that there is life after death and that there's no communication, then why are you talking to him? She does believe. She's just afraid. And I do believe that later on, and, I know Dennis is probably, leaving signs. But later on down the road, I think they're going to come and they're going to say, hey, guess what? And you know what? Maybe you're right. I'm sure they're exploring.
But then they were bragging how they went to go see this guy, Matt Frazier, okay, who's like, I guess, somewhat local here. I never heard of him. So I go and look up Matt Frazier, and the first 3 websites are all about fraud alert with Matt Frazier. Like he's a fraud. Okay. And so Renee did respond to the post, and she said, look I gave you a reading for free, and basically the girl was calling her a fraud. Okay. That's what she was saying. Basically she was calling Renee a fraud, and obviously I'm a fraud too if I'm promoting this psychic, and she's like looking your Facebook up. She didn't even know the girl's last name. And so anyways, Renee said, and I was so glad she did this, Renee came on and said, you know what? She goes, well, I'd be willing to give it another shot. And Renee goes, I'm not reading you again, And I was glad she said that,
Well, no, because she was asking for a second for free.
Mm-hmm. No, I don't think it was because she was saying she wanted it for free. It was just Renee's like, I'm not going to read you again. That's it. Yeah. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I was like, touche, because the girl should have just shut her mouth. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Right. No, you get what you're supposed to hear.
Yeah.
At that time.
And was it live? Like, was it recorded, the reading?
No, this is private.
No, it's private.
Oh, okay. Well, I was going to say, she'll go back and she'll listen to it at some later point in time, or if she took notes, she'll go back and she'll read them. And you know what? She may never come back and apologize to Renee. But Renee, we know Renee. Renee in her heart knows that she's not a fraud. She does what she does because she has the heart for it, and she doesn't do it to shine people on. She does it because that's what she's meant to do. And she knows she was right.
And and that was a lengthy post. It did. It had its moments.
Okay.
We all ended up having to walk away, but that's like what I went through with that one-on-one reading. I knew right away, that, she was going to walk away thinking I was full of it. I was a fraud and a fake. I know she knows better, but it was because I wouldn't tell her what she wanted to believe and what she wanted to hear.
Exactly.
Right. Because it wasn't the truth. Mm-hmm. It was not the truth. And and she was reaching and grasping, and she was even making things up that weren't true. And I knew they weren't true. Mm-hmm. And but I could, what do you say? Hey, why are you lying to me? You can't. You have to sit there and, I just let it all soak in and sit there. And I had to tell her that this is not, and it's sad because, she wanted to believe that somebody else had something to do with her son's death.
Yeah.
No, he committed suicide, and he wants you to know that he's very sorry, that he did this, but that was his choice and there was no turning back.
Yeah.
She doesn't think I'm so crazy anymore. There were things that came up that she knew that there's no way I could have possibly known. Mm-hmm. And there's quite a few times her eyes she was shocked. But I know that when she went home, that she was talking to other people and, hey, this is nuts. This is crazy. Some of the things I saw in some of the pictures she showed me. And he actually, was guiding that for her to show me some of these pictures.
Yeah.
And it was awesome.
I think that when this is my personal opinion again, when somebody comes to anybody for a reading, but when people come to me for a reading, and the first thing I say is, I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear, because that's not what I do.
Right.
What my guides and my guides and my angels do, they will give you what you need to know, not what you want to know. Sometimes it's the same thing, and sometimes it's not. And I think everybody who goes to a psychic, a medium, or whatever, go with the open. If you want a reading, you go with the open mind that you're going to hear what you need to, not always what you want to. I may want to sit down with Corrine and have Corrine tell me all about my dad. My dad doesn't come through. It's my mom who comes through and kicks my butt.
Right.
And I can sit there, and you can sit there and deny, because that's not what you wanted to hear. That's not who you wanted to hear from. But after the reading, some people might sit down. I would sit down and go, for me, I take notes. I'll sit down and read this, go, God, she was right. Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. Okay. But because my pride and my stubbornness won't allow me to call you up and go, you know what? You're right. I was wrong. Sorry. Some people don't have that ability to say, I'm wrong. I was wrong.
Exactly. Yeah.
So long as the reader is honest with themselves and honest with the message that they're giving. And yes, there are some out there who aren't. And Renee is not one of them. I love me my Renee. But I've come in touch, in connection with a few who are kind of like, more all about themselves, but that's when people learn who they can listen to and who they don't. But every reader, for me, every person, psychic, medium, reader, whatever, is honest with themselves and honest with the message that they're delivering. Because they're not giving the message, they're delivering the message. If you can be honest with yourself, and the person asking for the reading is honest and open and doesn't come with a preconceived idea, then I think that, everything will work out perfectly.
Right.
And it don't, like I said, don't be afraid, like if I sit there and, like I said, Corrine, you tell me, Darlene, you're actually a dark-haired woman. It's like, okay, not in this lifetime, but maybe in another lifetime.
Right.
It doesn't. This lifetime, hello, I'm a gorgeous redhead. Thank you very much. You have to.
What a gorgeous redhead you are.
That's it. Hello, it's all about me. And somebody found a very platinum blonde hair in my head last week, and I went, and so. I don't think I go blonde-ish.
Well, I had a dream about Jennifer this past week.
Uh-oh.
What day was it, Jennifer?
Oh, I
saw her.
Look.
I saw her at a computer, and she had really, really blonde hair, and it was like kind of shoulder length.
Jennifer.
Yes.
I like chopping that way.
Right.
But actually, it was the other day, but it was actually right here. That was on Wednesday. And yes, she said she had just got had a dream, mm-hmm. But it was nuts because, of course, I get a lot of stuff in dreams. So I sat and, I kept thinking about it. I'm like, okay. A lot of times I get puzzles, and this is going to be another puzzle that I have to work with. But it was the names that Corrine came up with, and the things that started popping into my head.
Mm-hmm.
So, just again today, so I did figure that one out. And that's funny because just this morning at a certain time, I get numbers, and it was, the certain time, which was it was a date, and I'm like, oh, here we go again. I frequently get messages from this guy. And the first thought in my head was, uh-oh, he's giving his mom a hard time again. And, got these thoughts, and I'm like, okay. So I, talking to myself and actually talking to him, mental telepathy. And, well, guess what? This afternoon, he shows up at my house, and what is he running his mouth about? Him and his mom got into it, and he said some pretty nasty things and blah, blah, this. And I'm thinking, oh, you know what? Your brother was just here earlier letting me know about all that.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I had, I try to talk to him. He's got some issues. So I try to talk to him and let him know, hey, that's not cool. That's your mother. You're 39 years old. What? Yeah, 39. And I think, 39, just made 40. You know what? Your mama's raised you. Your mama, you're not your mama's problem anymore. But, so that's what that was all about.
Hmm.
Yeah. It's a long, dragged out story.
So you said you have blonde hair like that, do
you?
You?
Yes.
And is it about shoulder length?
The last time I had it cut, yes, I got it, close to shoulder length. A little bit longer.
So maybe what I saw really is what you look like,
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, cause the last time I got it cut, it's just a little bit longer than shoulder length now.
Corinne, draw a picture.
Yeah, but the mess, it was like I said, in the names that she came up with.
I thought it was weird that I got his middle name too, Jennifer.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yep.
That was weird.
Yeah.
Well, ladies.
It's really strange because my son did almost, when you said something about the insurance, and my son, he said to me, he says, well, because it snowed here, it had rained something terrible, and then it snowed, and there was nothing but sheets of ice. And my son said, I can't go up on that roof because I almost slipped off. He says, if I went tomorrow, I would slip and fall off the roof. These buildings. And that's what caused Mark's head injury many, many years ago. The same area. He slipped and fell, and, caused him a lot of problems for the rest of his life. So,
wow.
Like I said, sometimes it's puzzles we have to put together, but
they eventually get put together when they're meant to. Well, ladies, we're going to 2 minutes to the end of the show. I'm going to cut it short now because my husband's home tonight, and he's decided to make me my Valentine's dinner tonight instead of Tuesday night. So I love you all, but my dinner is calling. I think
thank you for coming, Shelby.
This was an awesome show, and yes, Shelby, once you go on Corinne's show, you're going to come on our show. And like I said, it's not all about readings. As you can see, we just have a chit chat and enjoy getting to know each other. And that's what I'd like to do, get to know you and let everybody else get to know you. But when you're on Corinne's show, you just make sure you let us know so we can go and cheer you on in the chat room.
And we will keep you and your mother and family all in our thoughts and prayers.
Okay. It's already set up. Corinne's got you planned it on a date, and then we'll be right after. So don't worry about it. We love you.
Well, thank you so much, Corinne.
Thanks for coming, Corinne. Thank you. You were awesome. Leo, don't forget, I know you'll be listening to this in the archives. You will be on, and we will have you do some readings of your poetry. Don't worry about it. Don't worry. All right, ladies. Have a good night. Thank you very much. Actually, there's just the three of us. I'm going to turn off and...